Yo, what's happening, guys? It's your girl, Mina. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday. I hope you've all had a great week. I know we probably haven't because of Manchester United, but I hope we've all had a great week. You guys know what it is. Every Friday here, 7 p.m., Friday Night Lights, where we can talk about some of the recent news, but also preview the games coming up on the weekend. Now, initially, what I was going to do is just again recap about the week, Champions League, all of that stuff, as well as the Luton game. But obviously, there's been some news out today about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. You guys know what it is. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. On your way out. The stream ain't even over. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in. Make sure you guys subscribe. You can now become a member of the Minionship. Link is the pinned comment in the chat. Appreciate all the support all the time. You guys know what it is. There's a 2-tier system in the memberships. So listen, let's get it, man. Let's get it. Big up to everyone in the chat. And listen, I don't want to hear about the KG stuff. I don't want to hear it. You know why? Because we're playing on my channel in the international break, and you lot can judge me on that. Don't judge me on a game where I randomly popped up on his stream and said play me whilst I was cooking food, doing the school run, a lot of stuff. I was going to even be shameless and say, oh my God, my little brother was playing on account. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that because I'm gracious in it. I'm gracious in it. So if you don't want to judge me on FIFA or EAFC, whatever it's called, if you don't want to judge me on that, wait until international break. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because I'm blue double D double die says in the chat, ain't no way Mina acting like normal after getting smoked by KJ. I'm sorry. There's no way you lot call that getting smoked. If you watched it, if you want to watch it, it's his most recent video, is the last game at the end of the stream. There's no way that's me getting smoked. Absolutely not. And you know what? Memory kind of fails people sometimes because I smoked him already. I already smoked him. But of course, I take it very graciously. I'm very humble with it. You guys know what it is, man. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone that's been a member thus far. Really appreciate the support, guys. I might be able to quit my daytime job and become a full-time content creator. I'm joking. Not yet, but in due time, of course. Big up to everyone. Now, let's get straight into it because Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to be announced as 25% stakeholder in Manchester United in the coming week. An announcement is actually expected sometime in the international break. Could be as early as Monday. Looks like the board has approved his bid for the 1.4 billion or however much it was for 25% stake. And the first thing he's interested in, apparently, is to axe certain players from the team. There's been 3 players named, which I think only one of them seems realistic. I'm not going to lie. I think one of them seems realistic. The 3 players are Anthony Martial, and Anthony, both Anthonys, and Jadon Sancho. To me, the most realistic one out of all of them is Jadon Sancho. I don't see Martial leaving this summer unless United are bringing in a striker in the January window, which apparently we ain't even got money for. So I don't know where that's coming from, but it's been reported that Manchester United are actually interested in signing Mehdi Taremi. Now, like I said, the most realistic thing for me is Jadon Sancho, but I'm not sure if that's Sir Jim Ratcliffe's way of, I don't want to say like watching the internet, but it's no surprise that Anthony is not a fan favorite. Anthony is not a fan favorite. So if he's trying to win over the fans by selling Anthony, I'm not sure if that's a tactic. Koala actually messaged it here saying Anthony should be a swap player. There's so many wingers in this world. I'm not gonna lie, there's so many wingers out there that I would take over Anthony. Koala then goes on to say for Mehdi Taremi, I don't see that working just because you're swapping a winger for a striker. When we ain't really got people playing on the right wing, especially if we're selling Jadon Sancho, that means our only real right wing options would be Palestri and Ahmad once he comes back from injury, and obviously Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount. Talking about Mason Mount, Erik ten Hag actually made some comments about him today in the press, which is interesting because I actually tweeted it. This is what Ten Hag said regarding why Mason Mount has not been playing, and he said he started the season and then got injured. It interrupts the integration progress. It was really a setback. Now he has to fight to get his place back. There are other players who are doing well. I'm not sure who he's talking about, because unless he's talking about Scott McTominay, that's really the only other player in midfield that's been playing regularly and consistently in the same spot as Mason Mount. Now, I'm really starting to question, and I tweeted it saying that Manchester United have made Mason Mount and Casemiro two club signings. To me, I'm really starting to feel like Eric Ten Hag was not after Mason Mount, but I think it was the recruitment team felt like he was the best signing and they opted for that. The reason why I'm saying that is because how can you spend a window chasing Frankie de Jong and end up with two midfielders after that, Casemiro and Mason Mount, who are two different type of calibers, two different play styles, two different types of midfielders for about the same price that essentially Barcelona was asking for Frankie de Jong. What were they asking? They were asking 140. They were asking for about 140, 150, I think. We ended up signing both of them two for 130. I think Mason Mount was a club signing, and I'm not gonna lie, someone, I can't remember who it was someone who follows me on Twitter, said to me, who would you rather keep regarding, if a new manager was to come in or new ownership comes in, who would you keep in comparison from Anthony to Mason Mount? And I said I would keep Mason Mount because I know that Mason Mount is proven in the Premier League and the Champions League. He's got a track record. As much as we don't like, as much as I'm not going to say we, as much as a lot of people don't like it, Mason Mount has a proven track record of being successful in an English team in this system, in the English system, whether it's in the Premier League, whether it's in the Champions League, etc. He has a proven record. He could work. He could work in Manchester United. Anthony, I wasn't sold on him in the Eredivisie. You guys can go and find old tweets of mine from the summer that we were signing Anthony. I said I'd rather have Gakpo. If we were going to sign someone from the Dutch league, I would have taken Gakpo. We were linked to Arnott Danjuma at one point. I wanted Mohamed Kudus. There was a lot of players I was suggesting. I was never really for Anthony, and I thought it was definitely daylight robbery. But out of the two of them, it's kind of telling that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to come in. Now, again, this is just speculation, but it's kind of telling that Sir Jim Ratcliffe would like to come in and kind of shake things up a little bit, if you want to call it that. She wants to shake things up, get rid of Jadon Sancho, which we know inevitably is always going to happen, regardless of if new owners are coming or not. Jadon Sancho is out of the door. He's gone. The guy apparently was kicked out of the WhatsApp group chat. I don't even know why that's news. Why does that need to be reported? I don't even know. But Anthony and Martial, out of the two of them, I think it's more likely that Martial would be sold or let go in January, because I think Man United will sign a striker. I think he'll be a lone striker, which is why I don't unless Porto managed to make it out of the group stages in Champions League, I don't see any reason why Mehdi Taremi probably wouldn't come here on loan. Actually, one of his agent follows me on Instagram. So when the news starts to ramp up, I might just DM and ask for some information. I'm not gonna lie, I might just ask for some inside scoops. Big up to Cab says, Mina, what jersey are you wearing? Is it Barnsley? No, I'm wearing a QPR shirt that I was gifted by a player last season. A guy called Albert Adoma. Big up to him. I interviewed him and then he sent me a shirt for what's it called? As a gift. He sent me a shirt as a gift, and he actually scored the goal that kept QPR up last season. So this is it's not a match-worn shirt, if you are wondering that, because I would not wear a match-worn shirt. If it was gifted to me, I would frame it. But it's a nice little gift. It's a nice little gift. Big up Jonathan says, G. Tell us how you really feel, Jonathan. But he does also go on to say that Mason is better than Anthony. I do agree with that. Yeah, big up Cab says, Mina, big up Mina, we are finished. I think right now we should all learn how to lower our expectations. I'm nervous about our game tomorrow. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about our game tomorrow. Obviously, playing against Luton, I haven't watched a lot of them this season. I will be very honest. I haven't watched a lot, but I did watch their game against Liverpool on the weekend. They seem to me like a set piece team and a team that would just physical. Obviously, a few ex-Manchester United players playing for them in Taith Chung, and I think it's Tendon Mengi as well. Quite a few. Like for them, they would happily come to Old Trafford. I think the game's at Old Trafford. They would happily come to Old Trafford and walk away with a point or three. And that's the state that we're in. Let me double check to see if we're actually playing at home. I need to do my FPL as well. Yeah, we are playing at home. 3 p.m. kick. I hate 3 p.m. kickoffs. I'm in a point now, guys, where I just genuinely don't know. Like, I can't. We're playing Luton, who are like, I think they're 18th in the league. Let me just double check where they are in the league before I speculate anything. But I know they're in the bottom. I know they're 17th. We're playing a team who was 17th that is about 12 points behind us. And I don't even know what is going to be the outcome of tomorrow's game. I don't know. We just about beat Burnley. We just about beat Sheffield United. This is the team's newly promoted. Now we're playing Luton at home. I hope that it's not just the fact that we just about beat them. I hope we beat them comfortably. But I've seen them give challenges to other teams, Liverpool, Spurs, etc. I've seen them challenge other teams. So that's the only thing I'm a bit, I would say, worried about. Another thing I'm concerned about is the mental state of some players. For example, I would say Diogo Dalot, for me, after having two stinkers, he's dropped two stinkers in a row, conceding or being the cause of goals that we've conceded. For me, is like, it's either he comes out tomorrow guns blazing, or he comes out mentality absolutely dropped. That's another thing. Raphael Varane and the situation with the manager, something, in my opinion, needs to be rectified. We don't know what's happening with that. We don't really know what's happening with that. But Johnny Evans out injured. Lindelof, Varane, Maguire are really the only centre-back options that we have. If Varane wants out, and I've seen people saying, I think Varane's going Saudi in January, etc., etc. If that is really the case, then I just want him to play when he's playing. I just want him to perform well. That's it. A girl's not really asking for too much. Don't do FPL now. A player might get injured, then you can't replace. I always forget to do it in the mornings. Agent Mina, I'm just trying to utilize my connections, guys. Adoma, Ghanaian or Ivory Coast. I may have packed him in FIFA. I don't know where he's from. I think he's Ghanaian. I think he is Ghanaian, because we were speaking about the Ghana national team when I interviewed him. So I definitely think he is Ghanaian. And Blue Dabadai says, swap Dalot for Theo, maybe AC Milan want him back and some cash. They would be drunk to do that. AC Milan, I couldn't see anyone taking any of our players, if I'm being honest. I look at a lot of the players that we have, and I'll put this question out to you guys as well, and you lot can let me know in the chat below. Do you really think we have players that are worth other clubs trying to sign? Because I don't think we do. I think Jadon Sancho, for example, this entire situation has put a dent into anything that United could possibly sell him for, because there's now a proven, history of animosity between the player and the coach. Obviously, when this situation started playing out, I remember people bringing up things from, the England national team and from his time at Borussia Dortmund. So that doesn't really help either. The fact that he's got a proven track record of things happening between the player and the coach, and concerns about his ability to concentrate and just keep football at the forefront. If United wanted to sell him, and honestly, I know they wanted to sell him in January, in the summer, before James Maddison was actually signed by Spurs. I know Spurs was interested in him, and United put a price tag of £45 million. And even then, Spurs said no. They said, nah, not worth it. So if that's the case, and summer, he wasn't even, it wasn't even like a predicament or a situation. It was just the fact that they wanted to offload him. And 45 million was too much for a team like Spurs, who obviously Daniel Levy is probably trying to hold on to his pennies. But now that this situation has happened, it's going to be even more difficult to offload him for a good fee. It's going to be even more difficult, in my opinion, to offload him for a good fee. At best, United could probably try and get 25, should I say? At the most, 25 million. I'm not too sure. Maybe more than that. But I feel like this situation is going to have a negative impact on Jadon Sancho's price tag. It's going to have a negative impact. And that's why I wanted it kind of sorted earlier. I wanted it kind of rectified earlier, whether it was him and Ten Hag making up, whether it was, him apologizing, Ten Hag apologize, whatever. I just wanted it rectified, because really and truly, we know Man United were going to part ways with Sancho eventually. It was kind of evident. So if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is serious, I'm not buying it. All this stuff about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I'm not buying it. There's one thing that I've seen regarding his French club that he owns, Nice. It's reported that when he does take over, if there's players that United want and are interested in, it'll be a lot more smoother process to sign players from Nice, like a feeder club or something like that. But the Premier League officials or clubs are set to vote on exactly that. The Premier League management are literally set to vote at the end of this month on feeder clubs. So basically, like similar to like Saudi and for example, Saudi and Newcastle. Any of the Saudi teams are owned by the PIF, which is the Saudi Investment Fund, Al Hilal, Al Nasser, etc. They managed to offload Saint Maximin to there under these new rules that they're set to vote on. If it goes past, won't be able to happen. No such thing as a feeder club or any of that stuff. Anyone that's owned by the same owners, selling players to each other, loaning players to each other, etc. I think the voting is actually for loaning players. I think it's for loaning players, which in grand scheme of things don't seem that bad. Realistically, who we signing anyways from OG Nice? I would take Tadibo. Let me look at their team actually, because they got a defender that I like at OGC Nice. They've got a defender that I like. But let's just double check. And I will tell you who I would actually take. Obviously, I'm not going to name everyone. I would take, obviously, Tadibo. Would I take Terran Murphy, the Nigerian striker? He scores goals. Nah. Attal. I think his name is Tal. Yeah, Yusuf Attal, Algerian defender. I would take him. I would have taken Kefren Turam a long time ago. I don't know why United didn't try sign him in the summer. Obviously, we can't go there and start signing all their players. That's just me speaking hypothetically. Big up to Mike in the chat. Says, Salam alaikum, minna alaikum salam. I hope you're good. I hope you are well. Kenny Van TV says, why can't Sancho just flipping apologize for... I don't want to say that word, but you know what it means. Minna, Sancho doesn't have proven in discipline records. It's English media again. I did my research. I also saw Cam's interviews for that comment you dropped down to tier 6 journalist. For what comment? I'm just saying what has been reported. Like I'm not saying what's been reported. I'm saying what happened when this whole situation started. When this whole situation started after the Arsenal game, suddenly I started seeing people dragging up reports from his time at Borussia Dortmund, his time under the England national team, and comments made by Southgate. I'm not saying he's got a history of disciplinary records, but he has a history of reportedly, keyword, reportedly having the issues that the club has been complaining about, i.e. not working hard in training. At Borussia Dortmund, he had an issue apparently staying up late, playing PlayStation, all of that kind of stuff, which, you know what, guys? Everybody does that. Everyone does that. Obviously, when you're a footballer, it's different, isn't it? Because you need a good night's rest. But if you work like an office job, or you work from home, for example, you can afford to stay online, play PlayStation till 4 a.m, wake up at 9 o'clock, and then work from your desk all day because you're working from home. I get with footballers, it's kind of different because you need your rest, you need your sleep. But this is not me spewing any nonsense on Sancho's name. This is me just simply saying what happened after the Arsenal game and the statement came out. Is that online, if you are online, if you're on Twitter, if you're on all of that kind of stuff, all that information was being, dug up again, from his time at the England national team, comments made by Southgate about the fact that he's not working hard in England training camps, etc. His time at Borussia Dortmund. So it's not really me trying to put dirt on his name or anything. It's just me saying how it is. Maybe Al Hilal wants Sancho, and now that they are deregistering Neymar, that's a good thing. Sancho was linked to a move in Saudi. I know that he's rejected it before at the end of the English transfer window when the Saudi window was still open. I know that he did reject a move to Saudi just because he said that he's still capable of playing in the top leagues, which I understand. How old is he? He's like 20. How old is Sancho? He's like 24, I think. He shouldn't be going to the Saudi league. He shouldn't be going to the Saudi league at that age, unless it's just purely to make money. He's 23. He's not even 25. He's only 23 years old, which means he's got at least 6 years at his peak, and he's wasting his best years rotting away in the academy flipping canteen at Manchester United. he's literally spending time just rotting away. Cab says if Tafe Chung scores tomorrow, yeah, he did score to against Liverpool, so anything is possible. Anything is possible. The only thing is in Saudi, and again, guys, I would say don't get your hopes up too much, because in Saudi, I think there's a rule of how many international players that they can register, or foreign players that they can register, and most of the big clubs have already hit their cap. So the likes of all the teams owned by the PIF, the Saudi Investment Fund, they've already hit their cap. So unless, like someone said in the chat, unless Neymar is deregistered, then I don't see it happening. The MUFC 40 says the Saudi league is out of his league. I feel, you know what, this Sancho situation for me is exhausting. I know I always say I don't want to talk about it, and then I continue to talk about it. But for me, it's just very sad. It's very sad on both ends. It's sad on the club's end. It's sad on his end. You know, this was a player where 19, 20 years old, he was performing the way he was in the German league alongside Haaland. You know, in the England team, he was called up to the England team, impressive in the England team. Everyone looks forward to seeing him in the England team because he was playing so well for Borussia Dortmund. United spent 2 transfer windows chasing him. The first one, they didn't succeed. The second one, they did. Made him one of the most expensive players to leave the German league. Actually, I might be making that up. He wasn't the most expensive, because there's obviously been more expensive players to leave since. But he was a big price tag. Another big English player brought by Manchester United after we just spent money on Harry Maguire as well. It's very disappointing, I think, the way that everything has kind of panned out, the way everything has played out. Because, guys, be very honest, yeah? Be very honest. Were you or were you not excited when Sancho joined Manchester United? I was so excited. I brought every shirt that season, home, away, alternative, with Sancho on the back. That's how gassed I was when he joined. And I'm just so disappointed to see that the way things have panned out. Not only the way things have actually played out, but also the fact that, you know, he's not really performed to the standard that, you know, we kind of wanted from him, or that we were kind of allowed to expect from him. And B, the fact that he hasn't really had one normal season at the club. The first season, it was a roller coaster. Oli sacked, Ragnick in. Alanga was preferred over him sometimes to play. Second season, a couple months into it, you know, he's sent to go and train, work on himself. He's away for a couple of months, misses the World Cup, doesn't even go to the World Cup. Is he ever going to go to a World Cup? Is he ever going to go to a World Cup with England? Given the fact that the next World Cup is what, 2026? Yeah, 2026 is the next World Cup. He will be what? 26, still a good age, but where will he be in 3 years' time? Will he be in Turkey? Will he be in Saudi? Will he be playing for like a lower tier, a lower team in the French league, in League One? It's really, really disappointing. It's like, aside from, you could put aside, you know, the situation right now and just look at it from a bird's eye view kind of thing. And there's no one that I know that's a United fan that will say, oh, I didn't want Sancho. Oh, I wasn't. Because we thought we were getting the best English product at that time. Kadeem says, in Everton. I would not put it past him being at Everton. Honestly, I hear it. I really hear it. And then, you know what's the fact is that this situation is only ending one way. And that's him leaving the club. And if that works for him and that works for the club, then let that be so. But we should have got better from him. I swear. We could say, yeah, the situations weren't ideal, you know, but the beginning of the season, he had a few opportunities. Last season, before he went away to train in the Netherlands, he was playing. Then he came back later into the season. He was playing. When he first joined the club, he was playing. It's difficult. Sancho will end up at West Ham. I don't see him going to Premier League teams. I honestly don't think. I think a lot of teams wouldn't even touch him with a pole just because of this situation. I think this situation has kind of impacted his market value. But hey, if I'm making 300k a week for this many years, for 2.5 years, I would have at least saved some for a rainy day. I would definitely have saved some for a rainy day. Koala says, Manchester United is toxic. He's using the emojis. If you lot are wondering what that is, he's using the emojis that you get with the memberships, and I'm gonna keep plugging it. Of course, it's the pinned comment in the chat, and you can become a member. Of course, he says, I don't blame Sancho. I blame the club and the Glazers. The club did what? Well, you know what? At the time, I don't even know if Ollie wanted him. I can't really remember if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted him, but I do remember that. One thing that bothers me about the Sancho signing is that for so long, Manchester United need a right winger. They kind of masked that signing of Sancho as, oh, look, he's the answer to the right wing. And then he's always coming out saying, I prefer to play on the left, which is annoying because we were under the impression that he was going to be playing on the right, or he was going to be the answer to the right-hand side. He always used to come out and say he prefers to play on the left. That's his more preferred position. Saudi said no to Delhi, didn't they? Or was it our former star boy? No, Lingard is in Saudi, I think. He was training with West Ham at the end of the transfer window. And then I was told that he was going to Saudi. He had a Al Ittifaq, which is the team that is managed by Steven Gerrard, and Jordan Henderson plays for them. So I know that he was there on a temporary contract. He didn't sign anything permanent. But if Sancho ends up in Saudi, then that was thing. Damn. MUFC says, no, I knew he was overhyped, just like Mkhitaryan and Kagawa. That's obviously players that have come from Borussia Dortmund. I don't think Mkhitaryan was overrated. Again, I think Mkhitaryan was just a good player, just wrong time. So many players are like that. So many players are like that. Good player, just the wrong time. And bear in mind, when we brought Mkhitaryan, we brought in an influx of all these players. We brought in so many random players that time. Kagawa is another one that I thought we were getting that, that, what's the word? It's like that engine in the midfield. Again, another player that just didn't really work out. He came in Sir Alex Ferguson's, I think it was his last year, stayed for another year or two after that. And it didn't work out, which I think is a lot of the story for anyone that we signed post Sir Alex Ferguson. Some of them good players, just not the right time. Just generally not the right time. Show says, do you want to hear a joke, Mina? What do you call a building on legs? I don't know. What do you call a building on legs? Everyone drop your answers in the comments. I don't know. I just know it's going to be a player. It can't be Maguire, because Maguire ain't a building. He's a fridge. He's not a building. Amrabat. That is... I don't get that. But also, are you saying like he's hench like a building? Let's talk about Amrabat. Because I know a lot of people have some people have said that I have deceived them. Some people have said to me, Mina, you've deceived us into this player that you've hyped up to sign, who's not even all that. And in my head, I'm like, firstly, how have I deceived you? Secondly, I genuinely think, guys, and you lot can shoot me if you want, you can shoot me for my opinion. I genuinely think that Amrabat just looks bad because United suck. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, because the first few games he came in, left back. One game he looked good. I think it was the game against Palace, which everybody looked good for some reason. There was another game he got shifted in to the midfield. He played, I think there was a game he played a full 90 in the midfield. Great. Even when he came on in the midweek game, in the Champions League game this week, I don't think he was that bad. He came on to steady the ship in midfield. Defensively, I think, is where he lacks a bit of work. But we lack work defensively. I think this criticism of Amrabat is the easy one because, when it was Onana, and this is what I don't get, when it was Onana, yeah, stinker. People were saying, oh, our defense. There was many excuses made for him. Many excuses made for him. I think Mason Mount is the only one that probably does not get that privilege. I think Mason Mount is the only signing in the summer that does not get the privilege of excuses being made for him, because people have no patience for him. And that's another one that we can get into. We can get into that because you lot know I'm very much on the ship of, give them 6 months in the team before you criticize them. Mike says, up to you, up to now, he isn't the player that yourself and Flex have made out so far. Me and Flex no ball. Me and Flex no ball. I'm Blue Double D Double I says he almost cost us a goal. How is that steadying the ship? He didn't lose many ground duels, didn't give the ball away much. He's not a DM. If you lot watched him at Fiorentina, he is not a DM. He is what I would say. I don't know if this position really exists, but I guess it would be the 8 position. It's that deep lying player that can link up with the back line and link up with the people in front of him. When he in the Moroccan system, for example, in the Moroccan system, they got Hakimi, they got Agar, they've got Mazraoui, they've got a back line that can play out comfortably. So his only real task most of the time, when especially in attacking transition, was to either pick up the ball from the defenders and drive forward and offload the ball to Unahi, which was like the 8/10 for Morocco, or he would ping a ball across the pitch. He would ping. I don't think he's been as bad as. I think there's been some questionable stuff. Sometimes his decision making is a bit questionable, but can we attribute that to him getting used to the Premier League? There's things that we could basically attribute it to, which is I think we should have a bit of leeway for him. I think all our signings, and I say this all the time, anyone that has joined in the summer should have a couple of months where they can get. How can we criticize, for example, Mason Mount? The guy's not even seeing a run of games. And I know some of you lot in the chat are going to say, I don't need to watch him to know that he's crap. Yeah. But I genuinely think that when players come in, especially in the summer, and especially in this sort of situation where we're a sinking ship right now. United are a sinking ship. Let's call a spade a spade. Is that the right saying? I think that's the right saying. Let's call a spade a spade. We are a sinking ship. We need someone to plaster the holes on the ship, and we need someone to steady the ship. The manager needs to do that, and his coaching staff. Yeah. And until that's done, these players will continue to sink. It's as simple as that. Some of these lot have been sinking. They've been sinking for the past 5 years. Some of them have been sinking. And some of them have just come onto the ship this summer, not realizing that there's holes all over the ship and the coaching staff are trying to plaster it up like this. You lot get my analogy. I hope you lot get my analogy. And what I'm saying is just be a bit patient. Be a bit patient. I'm Blue Dabba D Dabba Die says, I'm just going to start saying I'm blue because it's actually long to say the whole thing. But I'm blue says he looked better at left back than DM. The only thing that I thought about him being at left back was that defensively he just looked cooked. He gets sucked into the ball like a midfielder. He kind of got sucked into the ball quite often when he was playing at left back. So what happened? A lot of the time, a simple little ball over the top, and his winger that he's meant to be marking is off in a heap of space. And I think we actually conceded a goal like that. I can't remember who it was against, but I think we conceded a goal like that. So that's my only issue with him at left back. I think if he was to have that free role in the midfield where he can, the thing is though, with Amrabat, you don't really need an Amrabat style player if you've got Lisandro Martinez, if I'm being honest. If Lisandro Martinez is fit, healthy, playing, and he's progressing that ball through the midfield, because that's what we're missing in our backline, essentially. That is what we're missing. Someone who's confident and good on the ball and can carry it from the backline up. You don't really need Amrabat if you've got Lisandro Martinez. You do not need Amrabat if you have Lisandro Martinez. We need to sign Clark Kent or Peter Parker then. What are you saying? We need superheroes. We need superheroes. YouTube moving mad. What's YouTube doing again to my streams? Does YouTube only do this to my streams? That's what I need to know. That's what I need to know. Does YouTube only do this to my streams? I don't even know if I'm live. I don't even know if I'm live. Oh, I am live. YouTube's just moving a bit brazy. YouTube is just moving a bit unusual. I'm using StreamYard, so I know for a fact it's not me. Okay, I am live. Big up. Thank you, guys. Koala says, show, become a member. It's fine. Kenny Fan TV says, we shouldn't have spent money on Mount. This is interesting because, like I said, discussions we were having at the beginning of the stream about Mason Mount. Maybe my patience, maybe I've got a heap of patience this season. I definitely didn't have it before in the past. I definitely didn't have it before in the past, but I've got a heap of patience with the players, with the managers. Someone even told me on Twitter today, stop defending Ten Hag, and I don't even think I defend him. I think I'm on the fence about Ten Hag. I genuinely think that, because I feel like I have support for him and I also have criticisms of him. So I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think I'm really Ten Hag out, and I'm not really Ten Hag in. I'm very much in the, be devil's advocate, play both sides kind of thing. But someone said to me, stop defending Ten Hag, because I said, after his comments about Mason Mount, I said that maybe Mount wasn't a Ten Hag signing. And I've reiterated that quite a few times. I think what Manchester United needed and what we ended up signing, two different players. Well, especially in the midfield anyways, two different players. Show says international football hype. Big up to Dead and Gone, the master of Assassin's Creed, says, I don't think Amrabat has looked bad. He was played out of position at first, then he came into a poor performing team. That's the thing. This is literally, Dead and Gone summed it up in 2 sentences, and I went on a whole rant about it. I started talking about ships and Titanic and all of that kind of stuff. But this is essentially what it is. It's a poor performing team. I think anyone comes into the team, put Frankie de Jong in this team, he will probably not look that great, because we are sloppy in possession. We are bad in defensive transition. People misread stuff. They don't know what to do. No mentality, no strength in the midfield, no strength in the whole team. People getting barged off the ball. Second chance opportunities. No one's fighting for it. No one's going for it. Put anybody in this team right now and they just look bad. They will just look bad. So I think, Onana, the reason why he was subject to a lot of criticism is because he's a goalkeeper. Every mistake he makes is kind of highlighted a lot bigger than others because he's a goalkeeper. Any mistake he makes will probably lead to a goal being conceded. And that's just the situation. Mason Mount, people are critical of him. Amrabat, people are critical of him. Rasmus Højlund is very much like, people are more concerned about the fact that he's not getting service, or people are not trying to link up with him. People are not trying to find him. The second he comes off the pitch, suddenly we're crossing the ball in. And now I'm starting to think it's actually a instruction and a tactic from Ten Hag. Because why is it when your actual striker is on the pitch, you are not crossing the ball in? But the second they come off, you are crossing the ball in. Whether it's Martial in the box, whether we're playing a false 9 in the box, whatever we're playing in the box, whatever we are playing in the box, it's actually quite frustrating. It's actually quite annoying. And I think the fact that he hasn't really hit the ground running in the Premier League in terms of scoring goals, I think is kind of telling as well. In the Champions League, he is creating some of these chances for himself. The first goal we scored against Copenhagen, that's a good team goal. But it doesn't happen for some reason in the Premier League. The second goal he scored, rebound, just getting into the right position. I don't know, man. Amrabat didn't cost us 60 million fees and 70 million wages. He is a free loan for 5 months. Who the hell cost us 70 million in wages? Who the hell costs us 70 million? Is that Sancho or Mount? Mount can't be on 70 million. Is that how much footballers can make? If that's how much footballers can make, 70 million. I thought they make way less than that for some reason. But if that's how much footballers can make from like a 5-year career at Manchester United, I'm going to actually wake up my nephews right now and tell them, let's go to the football pitch. I hope it's not too late for them to become footballers at this age. Lisandro Martinez was our best signing in a decade. I'll be absolutely real. Can we debate that? Is that arguable? I'm trying to think. Our last signings in the last 10 years. I think Ibrahimovic was one of our best signings. I'm so silly, guys. I should have filled up my water bottle before the stream. My water just finished. But I think Ibrahimovic, I'm going to tell you why. Because I think with Ibrahimovic, there was just a complete kind of, what's the word? Mentality shift. There was a mentality shift with the players. There was a mentality shift when he came into the dressing room. Absolutely not, Steffi. What the hell was this? Steffi says, was the water from 3 days ago. I fill this up every single day. Probably like 2 times, maybe 3 times a day. Show says Ibra crackhead emoji. The reason why I'm saying Ibra, I'm talking about effectiveness, the value that he added, not just from him scoring goals. Not gonna lie, he missed bare chances. Pogba was feeding him. However, I think with the mentality, just I don't want to say the aura because I don't like to talk about that stuff, his aura and that, but I think his mentality kind of helped shift the narrative in the dressing room. Suddenly, we were in the Europa League, guys. We were in the Europa League and we were winning every game. I wouldn't even say comfortably, but we were winning every game. Premier League, we were coming back from, draws and being down to winning games. To me, I'm not going to lie, guys, if I'm just talking about just vibes alone, that is my favorite Manchester United team over the last 10 years. That time, that period of Ibrahimovic, Eric Bailly, Pogba, like that period for me is my favorite. That is actually that was my favorite in the last 10. In this shit show, excuse my language. You lot know I don't like to swear. God forgive me for that. But in this absolute roller coaster of the last couple years, last 10 years, that period of Manchester United, for me, I'm saying was the most entertaining one from a vibes perspective. If we're just going off the concept of vibes FC, Mount is on 200k a week, which is just over 10 million. God damn. 250k. He's on 250k. Who the hell gave him that contract? What? Nah. You lot have to be pulling my leg. You guys have to be pulling my leg. Let me go to Man United wages. You guys have to be pulling my leg. 250k. 250k. So Man United pay nearly 4 million a week. They pay nearly 4 million a week in wages. It starts top down. It's defo Eric Ten Hag's fault. He spent 430 million. I mean, he did spend a lot of money. Let's look at the most highest there. He is on 250. He is on 200. Oh my God. Why have I never actually looked at the wage structure of these players? How many years he got left on his contract? He's got 5 years as well. Obviously, Marcus Rashford got 5 because he just signed an extension. I need to apologize to Dallo, guys. I need to apologize to Diogo Dallo. You know why? Because I'm always sitting here saying, how dare he get a contract that he's only on 85k. He's only on 85k. Some people are earning triple, quadruple that. He's only on 85k a week. Andre Onana earns more than him. Rasmus Højlund and that, who's the lowest earner in the team? Hannibal earns the lowest because he's still on his academy. He's still on his academy thing and his contract. So how many people's contracts expire? Let's look at all the expiration dates for 2024. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mina, I told you about Dallo, but you don't listen. Yeah, you lot know I don't listen, man. You guys know. You guys know I don't listen. You guys know I don't listen. He went from 80k at Chelsea to 250k because we are idiots. Of course he wasn't going to turn that. Now that I know that, I'm sorry. Maybe when we were signing him, I just wasn't aware and I weren't paying attention enough. But now it makes sense as to why he was, everyone was talking about how Manchester United, there was a lot of PR surrounding Mason Mount joining Manchester United and the fact that it was a club that he's always wanted to play for, despite the fact that he was Chelsea born and bred. They were saying it's a club that he's always wanted to play for. His dad's always wanted it. Of course, his dad's always wanted him to play for Manchester United. He's getting paid 250 a week. He's getting paid $1 million a month. But anyways, 2024, Martial, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, their contracts are expiring. Then Hannibal, Shola Shortau, who's out on loan, I think. Heaton, and then obviously Reguilon and Amrabat, who will both be probably going back to their clubs. So really and truly, we're not really missing much. If I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm being honest, bar Hannibal, who I think is good enough. I think Hannibal is good enough to be a rotational player. I'm not gonna lie, I think he's good. I think he's good enough to be a rotation and an option player. Not a starter all the time, but he could definitely start in some games. Definitely start in like smaller games, cup games, maybe teams like when we play lower halves. when people need rest, I think he's good enough. But everyone else on this list, they could actually go, and I don't care. Hannibal gets a bonus for every yellow card he gets. You know what I need to see in my lifetime? Remember when Fellaini dragged Guendouzi by his hair like this? I need to see Hannibal do that to someone. Question for the chat from Koala. You see, Koala gets to ask questions because he's a member. He's a member, so he gets to ask questions. Says, ask the chat if they understand Sancho now. 350k to play with the academy. Sign me up, bro. Pay me 2k a week and I'll play with the academy. If you're telling me I can make 10, okay, pay me 2.5k. You're telling me I can make 10 grand a month, yeah? Just from running around with the academy players. If I was a professional footballer, sign me up. Sign me up. I will even serve their lunch for them in the canteen. I will even do that. 350k to play with the academy. For me, is like, if we talk about this from a subjective perspective or objective, whatever. If we talk about this from a perspective as people and not fans of a football club, a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would do it. They would be, because it's very difficult, I think, for footballers and just footballing institutions like clubs. I think it's very difficult for them to terminate a contract without a valid reason. I think it's very difficult. So as a player, you're lawyered up. You got your lawyers. You're paying millions and millions to your lawyers. Same way the clubs are, but you can basically go blow for blow with them legally and have no sort of issue with waiting it out. Because you are still getting your money regardless. Unless you're Paul Pogba. You know it's not a stream if I don't mention Paul Pogba. Unless you're Paul Pogba and you got caught doping. Then you're earning 2k a week. I'm just saying, right? Imagine me right now, I'm saying pay me 2k a week. And Pogba's actually getting 2k a week from Juve. And they're about to terminate his contract. As soon as that news happens regarding the fact that, you know, he's getting suspended for 2 years, they're terminating his contract. And that's the easiest way for them to get out of that bill. But Manchester United, unfortunately, don't have a way to get out that bill. And I'm actually glad they don't, because I think it would make the situation even more rotten if there was outside circumstances that are influencing this. And suddenly, outside of the football element of things, people would have an opinion on stuff. We've seen it with other players. I'm glad that that is not happening. I'm glad that this is a football issue that they have to solve, in my opinion. Anyway, last 15 minutes of the stream. Let's quickly talk about the Luton game. We spoke about it very briefly at the beginning of the stream, but let's talk about it in just a little bit more detail regarding predictions, starting lineups, all of that kind of stuff. I think the lineups will be similar to what we've seen recently. I think Rashford would play. I think Rashford will play. I think his suspensions should be Champions League, so I think he will play. I don't know about Anthony. I said midweek that I would be shocked if Ten Hag dropped Anthony, and he did. Didn't even let him get a sniff of the pitch. Didn't even let him get a minute on the pitch. That back line, I think it'll be between Varane and Lindelof. It'll be Varane and Lindelof. It'll be Varane and Lindelof, and then Maguire. Dalot will be playing. And of course, probably Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I wouldn't be surprised if Reguilon actually starts. I wouldn't be surprised. Amrabat, I think, will start in that midfield. It'll be Eriksen or McTominay. Obviously Bruno, Højlund, etc. I hope Højlund kicks off his scoring. I hope he kicks it off, because we're in November and he still ain't scored in the Premier League. He still has not scored in the Premier League. We were laughing about Richarlison last season. They might be laughing at us at the end of the season. But I think that will be the lineup. Luton is my hometown club, so got a soft spot for them. A nice little stadium they got. I can't wait for United to go there and play away. Whenever I watch them playing at home, I just feel like the camera is literally on the pitch. I feel like the camera on TV, the TV camera is literally on the pitch. That's how small the stadium is. But in terms of predictions, guys, I can't give you a prediction. I don't mind you lot giving me your prediction, but I can't give you lot a prediction because I genuinely do not know. I told you lot, I'm in a point right now this season where every game you ask me what my prediction is, and I'm just going to say, I don't know. I don't know. One thing I do know, though, is that if we score, we will concede. I know that. If we score, we will concede. And it will be something jammy. It will be something jammy that we concede. Because all we concede a lot of the time is jammy stuff. And when I say jammy, guys, I mean it's like we're not even getting played out of the park. We're not getting played off the park. Most of the time, it's just nonsense goals that we concede. Copenhagen is actually Galatasaray is a prime example. The Galatasaray game, you lot have no confidence whatsoever. Dedengon said 2-2. Show said 2-1 to United. Okay, that's confident. MUFC says 1-0 to Luton. I think it will be 2-1. I just think it's going to be another stupid VAR call against us. I think Rashford will score and then do his celebration. He will score and do his celebration. I'd like him to do that. And I don't know who else will score. I'm hoping Højlund scores. I wouldn't be mad if it's like McTominay or whatever. I just want to see a good performance. Like I say this going into every game, which is actually kind of sad because I sound like a broken record. I just want to see a good performance. Copenhagen manager said it was their worst performance and they still scored 4. And people are telling me that. Let me pin this comment for a second. Copenhagen manager said it was their worst performance and they still scored 4. And I saw people saying that this was United's best performance despite the result. Despite the result, people were saying this was Manchester United's best performance. I don't know what crack, cocaine, drugs, heroin people were on. Because there's no way, I said this already after the game, by the way. I said this already. There's no way you concede 4 goals in a Champions League game and you walk away happy with that result. Or that you walk away happy with that performance. There is absolutely not in any way on God's earth that you can be happy with that. If we conceded 2 goals in a Champions League game, I'd be annoyed. But conceding 4 goals and then the manager says it was their worst performance and they still scored 4. That is a slap in the face. And I did see Ten Hag's comments, by the way, after the game. I saw Ten Hag's comments after the game where he was saying it was a decent performance, blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. But for me, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. For me, I was irritated, and this is precisely aimed at Ten Hag when I say that you can't be happy with the performance because he was saying it was a good performance. There is no good performance when you concede 4. There was no, I don't think they fought because really and truly, if you fight, then you would make sure you never even conceded that first goal. Let alone having to come back. And that 3-2, when it was 3-2 to United, be honest, guys, that was luck. That penalty was a lucky penalty that we got. Handball. How many times in a game do you think, yeah, we might get a penalty because someone's going to handball it? Not often. Not often. That was luck. If we never got a penalty, it would have been a completely different situation. So there's no way that you could feel happy with that performance because one decision made differently. If that penalty was not given, and VAR is capable of doing that, referees are capable of doing that. If that penalty was not given, it would be a completely different story. This is not aimed at KG, by the way. I saw what KG was saying, and I got onto him about it as well because, but we always disagree. Like you don't always have to agree with stuff. I was more annoyed about Ten Hag's comments because when you see the manager saying stuff like Copenhagen's manager saying it was their worst performance, and they walked away with a win, 4 goals. Of course, it was their worst performance because they went 2-0 down in 20 minutes. Of course, it was their worst performance. The fact that it was their worst performance and they still scored 4 goals and won. And then Ten Hag is in a press conference saying, oh, well, we played good. That we played better than I don't care if we played better than the last couple games. I don't. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just the same result. It's a loss. So really and truly number 4 today. I haven't said it that much. Maybe I should put a really and truly timer that counts how many times I say it. But thank you guys all for sticking around. You don't know what it is, man. Friday Night Lights. Nice little rant about Manchester United ahead of tomorrow's game. I'll be live later on in the afternoon after the 3 p.m. kickoff, depending on the result. But obviously, things that we learned after match week, game week, 12, I think it is. Is it? No, it must be like 13, I think, at this point. I don't even know. But I will be live for that. You guys know what it is. You can become a minion. You can join the minionship, aka the members. You can support the channel and allow me to keep bringing content, keep bringing just a lot of stuff. I got a lot of ideas, guys. I got a lot of ideas. So I would appreciate it. Continue supporting the channel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're growing over here all the time. We got match day content tomorrow. Of course, we got women's content on Sunday, gaming content, international break. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Assassin's Creed tonight. I'm not sure. Maybe maybe not, because Call of Duty's out and I want to play Call of Duty. So I'm not too sure. I don't want to stream Call of Duty because I make too many funny facial expressions when I'm playing. I need to get used to being on camera while playing Call of Duty. Then I can start streaming that on Twitch properly and on here. But like I said, guys, you guys can join the memberships. You get your badges, your emojis, all that exclusive content. We've got a 2-tier system. So you can join and support the Minion, what's it called? I was going to say organization, but that sounds like a cult. That sounds like a cult if I say the Minion organization. Members only. Should I do a members only stream in that case? I said that I was going to wait for the members to grow a little bit before I start doing members only content. But you lot know what I'm thinking. I've actually got a very an idea that I'm working on that will kind of come to fruition in the next month or two. And let's just say it consists of me on a football pitch in real life. That's all I have to say. That's all I'm giving away. And a football. That's all I have to give away. I'm not going to tell you who's on it. I'm not going to say what is the concept, but that's all I'm giving away. So of course, as the channel grows, I'm going to try up the content and obviously up the quality. It won't always be me sitting down on a chair, all of that kind of stuff. Listen, you lot get onto me for the way you lot getting onto me. The show's getting onto me for the way that I'm pronouncing stuff. But I gave a whole story. I gave a whole story about growing up with a speech impediment. So if you guys mock me for saying things wrong, just know that you're mocking a younger me who had a speech impediment. And my siblings used to do the same thing. They still do it till now. They take the mick out of the way that I say stuff. But big up to all of you guys. Of course, I appreciate the support. You don't know what it is. I might be back later, maybe for some pro clubs, maybe just for a chilled Friday evening stream, because I know it's Friday, and we got nothing better to do. We got nothing better to do on a Friday. Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. You guys know what it is, man. You guys know what it is. I need to stop saying you guys know what it is, because what happens if you guys don't know what it is? Then what happens? Make sure you hit the like button on your way out, and I will be back tomorrow after the game. Come on, United, man. You guys know what it is. I gotta stop saying that. Get practicing for your revenge on KG. That's coming as well. The second that KG sends me his picture for the thumbnail, then I can make the link, and then you lot could turn on your notifications, because Monday, Tuesday, it's gonna happen. International break, and he's promised me. And if we don't play, then you lot know who's ducking who. You guys know who's ducking who. I'm out of here, man, guys. Peace.